The first thing just about everyone thought when they saw the Borderlands trailer was, wow, this really wants to be James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Good luck.
But the one thing Guardians of the Galaxy had in spades was personality. And I don't mean just in tone and style, but in their larger-than-life characters. Borderlands aims for similar quirky personalities, but instead of quirk, lands far closer to excruciatingly annoying. To the point that, just showing it to prisoners may break Geneva Conventions. And this has Cate Blanchett as your lead. How do you possibly get your audience to hate one of, the best actresses working today? How does this even happen? Originally written by Craig Mazin of Last of Us and Chernobyl fame, it was apparently completely butchered by a combination of Eli Roth, corporate-level rewrites, and hindered by a PG-13 rating when it was originally scripted to be R, and that took a serious edge off the game's sharp corners. Even Mazin, he eventually demanded that his name be stricken from the credits. I think they replaced it with I don't know, it sounded like Joe Abercrombie, but I'm pretty sure that's an author of books. No, it definitely is. The plot is just a simple fetch quest, with a ragtag team of outcasts who have to come together as a team, or dare I say it, family, to beat a warmonger to a weapon in order to just keep it out of his hands. Now, if that sounds familiar, that would be because it's the exact same plot as Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, Guardians, it really didn't have a whole lot going on under the hood in terms of plot either. But it made up for it, with Gunn's infectious style, sharp wit, and above all, lovable assholes. And please don't say I should not be comparing this movie to Guardians of the Galaxy and I should let it stand alone, because it practically was begging me the entire time to do it. Make no mistake, this is a full-blown ripoff, but it lands far closer to the original Suicide Squad than it does to, Gunn's film. Borderlands, it does fail at all 3 points that made the Guardians work: style, wit, and character. There is no style here. Now, I give props to the production designers for bringing to life some of the stylings of the source material. Yes, the environments, they could get over CGI, but they did a commendable job in trying to get the sets and the costumes right. But this is an action comedy, first and foremost, and every scene feels uninspired. Basically, every action sequence is a group of goons in cosplay costumes. They show up, and then the two sides shoot at each other. Now, there's some people that could make that actually interesting, that's basically John Wick. Here, it all kind of blurs together. An indistinct chop editing style of actors just spinning and firing their guns off screen, and then you hard cut to someone just falling backwards and going, "Oh, I've been shot." It's not really inspired. There's no really commendable choreography or camera work here. There's nothing here to really draw in the audience's eyes or beg your brain to even remember it. The only thing that breaks this trend is the climax. It kind of is combining the ending of Captain Marvel with Dark Phoenix, which isn't the highest compliment I guess you can give something. But it's even worse than those, though, because all the main characters become indestructible at the end. So it's not exactly, the most gripping conclusion. And there's certainly no wit here. It was so unfunny that my entire audience was completely stone-faced and silent for the entire runtime. The only part that I think got a chuckle was when Cate Blanchett, vomits and then she wipes her hand off on, the bunny girl's shirt. Legitimately the only laugh that was heard in the theater. That's because most of the jokes here are either obvious, low-hanging fruit, telegraphed, or in most cases, just major swings and misses. Every attempt at humor only dug a deeper hole and made me hate these characters even more. And there is the greatest problem with this film. Character. Like I said, Guardians of the Galaxy and even Gunn's later Suicide Squad, they weren't so much driven by plot as character. They lived off the camaraderie of the cast and the larger-than-life personalities that they inhabited. A swashbuckler protagonist inspired by the scoundrel heroes of the 80s, but unable to grow up due to his inability to move on from past childhood trauma. Then you got a dangerous straight man with questionable allegiances. And then you got the smallest person, who is maybe the most dangerous and the most sadistic. And this person, get this, also is followed around by a large guardian who, is a man of few words. It's the exact same basic team, with the same types. It's unapologetically a clone from the broad strokes of the plot to even the central personalities. So why did Gunn succeed while Roth failed? Now, it's hard to completely blame Eli Roth. There were COVID restrictions, studio meddling, and even him being replaced by Tim Miller at some point. And then there were huge delays and rewrites and reshoots that all had to happen on the film. This thing had been in the can for a long time before they finally got the guts to release it. I'd be embarrassed too, so I don't blame them. Yet, his name is on the top of the movie. The problem is Roth exceeds in gleeful, bloody abandon. Blood splatter cinema, you could call it. He works best when he's paired in like slasher films, such as Thanksgiving. Those sort of movies, they're not exactly character driven. In fact, they may actually kind of be the opposite. Many times in slashers, you want the audience to feel almost a sort of ambivalence to the teenagers who are getting skewered on the wrong side of an axe. It basically makes him the worst person to, actually lead a character-driven film like this. I don't think he understood what separates a funny, flawed, and lovable character compared to those that are annoying, grating, and irredeemable. But that's probably because he didn't watch, like, or subscribe to Journey Through Cinema. Have you?
Come on, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. Come on.
Our main character here, Lilith, is painfully miscast, and it hurts my soul to say that. Cate Blanchett, she forever has my heart as a Lord of the Rings fan. But here, she is painfully try-hard. Nothing came off naturally. She kind of gave off the feeling of a LARPer in a fan film. Everything she does or says, it's all one big genre cliche. Her first appearance is the bounty hunter in a bar. Now, you probably haven't seen this movie because, let's be frank, almost nobody did and no one has. You can still picture the scene. A hard character walks in, sits down, asks for a strong drink, and then some people in the bar, they're gonna try their luck and say, "Hey, you're not wanted here, stranger." All right before they are easily gunned down.
Name's Rango.
It's so tiredly played out, and everything she says is like this. If I had a remote control and could control the theater projector, I could have paused right before every line of dialogue from her and predicted exactly what she would say next, or at least the gist of it. Whereas Peter Quill, the character, was like a man-child doing his best to approximate a scoundrel hero. Here we have Cate Blanchett as an actress doing her best to approximate a scoundrel hero. And like Star-Lord, Lilith is haunted by things in her past that she never moved past, leaving her home planet behind and her mother to die, with a third act that hinges on her heritage. So hey, you get it all. There is a mystery here, as blasphemous as it feels to call it that. In Lilith's case, you'll see the red herrings coming from a million miles away. From literally the moment she says she grew up on Borderlands, you will know exactly what's coming next. And then you have Kevin Hart. He's just as miscast as Blanchett was. Here, he's given the role to play the straight man, a stoic soldier who's working towards his own ends and can't be completely trusted. Did he rescue the girl at the beginning for righteous reasons or selfish reasons? Who cares? It never comes back into play again, except for a very brief moment where two people at gunpoint are accusing each other of not being trustworthy. He's supposed to be this hardened soldier. Now, I'm fine with everyone having their shot at being an action hero. And I'm not even really joking. People laughed when Bruce Willis was first cast as a serious action icon in Die Hard. And even more recently, you had, Better Call Saul. Yeah, whatever his name, Bob Odenkirk, I know his name. Yeah, even he proved to be really good in that role too. You would have never expected that. So Hart, who knows? He could have been the next Willis, but I'll tell you what, in this movie he sure isn't. And worse yet, he's not really even given many opportunities to flex his comedic chops. For many who are burned out on Hart, that's probably a blessing. But here he's not really offering anything more than a stern frown and a couple jokes at the expense of his height. But at least, on the bright side, he's kind of the only one that didn't irritate me. And for Kevin Hart, that is saying something for him to be the least annoying character in a movie. So, good job, you're moving up in the world. Then there is the bunny girl. And no, I don't remember her name. And again, like all the other times I've done it, I'm not going to look it up. She is played by Ariana Grande, who has been making waves as she's played young versions of already pre-established characters. Young Gamora, young Ahsoka, but she maybe finally had her big break in Barbie. She seems to be an upcoming talent. And I hope this movie doesn't become a black mark on her record, because she does seem to have some talent, and this film is really doing her no favors. Like everyone else here, I think she is honestly trying, but she doesn't find support in either the direction or the script. She's married to this character that has nothing to do but just kind of snarkily guffaw, act violently perky, and then skip around the screen. It's like being stuck in the car with a 13-year-old who has nothing to say but won't shut up. And she has nothing here to work with, nothing that approaches development or a character arc. The end does get close to a real character moment where she loses her purpose, but it's really easily papered over with a character just kind of going, "Hey kid, you're wonderful the way you are." Yeah, haven't seen that cliche in a while. and then she's perfectly fine. There's really no depth to her outside of that. Rocket may have been sarcastically gleeful, but it was all covering up kind of this bitterness of a tortured soul. It was playful, but it also kind of had some serious dramatic undertones. All this subtext was made clear from the very first movie. There's no such depth here. This is just a crazy little girl who throws bunnies that go boom. And I don't even want to get into her guardian character because he's barely even a character. He is an action figure that grunts dumb dullard lines and loves to smash stuff. He had none of the appealing or gentle charm of Groot to contrast his moments of surprising violence. Groot couldn't even talk beyond, one word, and his physicality in comedy was still significantly more on point. I don't remember a single thing this character did. He is the ultimate non-character. And they even shoehorned in poor Jamie Lee Curtis. And all she gets to do is look around all bug-eyed and act like the absent-minded grandma. And what a waste of, a great actress that you could have put in there. And you have nothing for her to do. Look around like this. That's it. That's what she does the whole movie. Good stuff. Then we come to the last character. We saved the best for last. Now, this loathsome trash can was the bane of my entire viewing experience. Every word out of his mouth made me wish I could reach through the celluloid and crush him like an aluminum Pepsi can. He is the most annoying character in a film that I have seen in a very, very long time. And I don't joke when I say he makes Jar Jar look, composed and approachable. And the worst part, between all the sarcastic interjections and poop jokes, is, finding out only after the screening that he was voiced by Jack Black of all people. First off, why? He was completely unrecognizable. Why spend the budget on that? Just get the original voice actor at that point. Just do that. I'm sure he wants the work. Second, it breaks my heart that America's rock and roll, cool dad is behind a character I would like to see loaded into a rocket and shot straight into the sun. This may have been a case of, inverse Robin Williams. It's well known that for Aladdin, the director sort of put him in a recording booth and then let him go nuts. Much of his dialogue for the film was completely improv. And the result, you can't lie, it was one of the greatest voice performances of all time. It may be that Roth was trying to do the same thing with Black and just let him improv whatever he wanted and was just, in the end, undiscerning so that everything made it into the final cut. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not sure if there was any good now that I think of it. It may have just been the bad and the ugly. Or maybe this was all scripted, and everyone's at fault for writing it, reading it, recording it, and directing it. And whole departments, everyone just not knowing restraint. You tell me which is worse. And this character just kind of pops out of nowhere. Just this devil in the middle of the desert who shows up in Lilith's camp. I thought it was maybe, a small part. Maybe this was just a bit character. Imagine my horror when I started to realize as the movie went on that this talking garbage compactor was going to be in the entire thing. No one can get so much as 3 lines in without this, unironic annoying orange coming in and making some just stupid snark. And I blame this guy more than anything for my true hatred of this film. Every time he was in danger, my first thought was, good, get him. Kill him. My only relief was in the blissful moments that I felt nothing but ambivalence. It was like, almost being in a zen state. There have been bare bones stories before that have made the most out of what they got in the past. This is a movie that lived and died on, how much people liked the characters. Borderlands didn't just die on these characters. The characters committed negligent manslaughter on this movie. Poorly defined, no real arcs, and so annoying that it would make any audience want to walk out even when watching on an airplane. All because there's no one here we would want to spend time with. Not a second. None. Not even 2 minutes just tolerating them while waiting in line for a morning coffee. That's the true death of this movie. Character, not story. So thank you everyone for watching. Be sure again to like and subscribe for more historical film flashbacks and modern movie analysis. We've got both Aliens and 1918 in film coming up. As always, please keep those reels turning. Thank you.